You ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? And I don't need cards for this, but they are right here just in case I need to pull one or two. I'm going to say some controversial statements, and I want it to be taken subjectively. This is no way, in shape, or form to diminish the death of someone who has passed away because of political violence. The individual being broadcasted to us is not the shooter at all. The individual being broadcasted to us is not the shooter at all. The evidence of the gun that was recovered, down to the footprint, the handprint, and the message of catch fascist, is all manufactured by the mass media machine to push a narrative. The individual that made that shot was a military trained person. A 22-year-old Caucasian Utah individual with an assault rifle with an enhanced scope would not have been able to do that shot. He would not have been able to take that shot. This is my intuition, and this is also common sense. The reason that 33 hours later they're presenting us with an individual is because of their inaptitude. They don't know where the shooter is. The last time I got a psychic impression of the shooter, he was in Minnesota. This was yesterday at around 3:00 p.m. where it just dropped in my consciousness that this individual was no longer in the state that the crime was committed. He was in fucking Minnesota. Right now, I'm not catching anything on his location, which makes me think that he's no longer in the immediate vicinity of the United States of America. If you have watched anything from Designated Survivor to Scandal, which is fiction, but as an intellectual people know, we know fiction really means from Hollywood, hide the truth in plain sight. We know that there are campaigns that can be created to spin a narrative. We, the people, no longer put our trust in media outlets to deliver proper information. We adhere to public forums and check sources to validate what we believe at this time. I will even go down to the point of the political assassination of Charlie Holt was an inside job to further push an agenda. In the light of the Epstein scandal, where it has been a fact and proven simultaneously that you had 4,000 transactions sent to Epstein, totaling over $1.1 billion the same day that this political assassination took place, doing nothing to tone down the rhetoric of white supremacists, while fanning the flames of calling him a hero, where, as I've done my research, he spewed more hatred than a Grand Master of the Ku Klux Klan in the guise of anti-wokeism. Angered at people being outraged that somebody who spoke against how they were born, Black, Latino, is dead. I want to keep you in mind that the radical right, or whatever, right or left, most people in the world don't even understand what the hell that means. Right now represents white men. And I want to be specific by saying white men, because women with the voice, women who want to have a job, women who want to control your bodies, you're a leftist, bitch. I'm sorry to tell you, you're a leftist. The divide is not about race. It's literally about white men who have prejudice against anyone who is not them. And if you want me to simplify it to the umpteenth degree, it is because y'all the ones came over here, you brought another race over here, you forced people off their land, and you feel like you're losing control of what you took over. And it's demographically based. This is the only reason why you're deporting immigrants without due process. It's the only reason why you will not, as a president, rectify violence against minority institutions where clearly the suspect in question is not a minority. Right now, you are trying to cover up the ineptitude of local law enforcement in the Utah area that this took place. Kash Patel, the FBI director, never makes public appearances during private crimes like this. But you federalize it and you make your presence known to say that you're doing something in effort of finding that you don't know who the shooter is. But you have a narrative to spin. The only problem, the internet. The internet. The only problem is the unregulated internet and the First Amendment we have to use our thumbs to say whatever the fuck we want. And under the Constitution, you can't come after anybody for it. Okay? And the death of Charlie Holt, a radicalist, is not going to change the Constitution. It is not going to allow you to go after influencers that are talking about Charlie Holt in a way that is distasteful to you. In the same way that Charlie Holt was served street justice for running his mouth about gang violence when what you really mean is black people killing other black people. You're changing the wording, but what it really is racist. It's racist. I have had friends. I don't have a lot of close friends right now, but I have had a lot of friends throughout my life that have been all ethnicities, and the undertone of racism from other ethnicities is very blatant, but the smiles are brighter. And the politeness speaks echoes, and the condescent and the furl of your nose when we say something intelligent, it really bothers some people. And those people, unfortunately, have a megaphone right now. But I want to keep my audience in knowing that all people are not like that. All people are not like that. When you walk out of your house and you walk into the grocery store, just because somebody looks different than you doesn't mean that they are pushing forth an agenda that not only will allow somebody to be shot in the neck for spewing their ideology, but they don't push an agenda of hatred. We're not a hateful people. But we are governed by an administration who cheated to get to where they are. First thing. Okay, it's no way that some of these districts' votes aren't counted completely and you can claim total victory. There is scandal there. It's a scandal that went uninvestigated because Kamala Harris did not want that fucking job. She didn't want the job. Okay, you can tell by how she ran the race. She did not want the job. Okay, but she would have done the job in spite of what we're experiencing now. Her book ain't even out yet. And I think that's going to be the first book I read in a long time. I really do. Because I want to hear what the hell she has to say. This isn't new rhetoric, though, y'all. You know, if you have melanin in your skin, somebody suffered for you to be here holding your phone right now. Hell, even if you are some type of white, you've suffered by the hands of other white people. But I believe in the goodness of spirit, and I believe in the goodness of humanity. I do not believe that the bulk of people, even here in North Carolina, where I am from, are racist. I don't believe that the bulk of people in the world are bigoted, and I don't believe the bulk of people in the world are radicalists. The bulk of people in the world are in the middle, and we just want peace, and we want lower taxes. That's it. We want peace, lower taxes, gun control. Okay, we're not saying take away guns. We're saying take a mental health screening before you have access to one. What's wrong with that? What is wrong with that? What is wrong with that? What is wrong with saying just because you turn 18 doesn't mean you can walk in and buy a fully automatic? Well, you can't buy a fully automatic, but you can't buy a gun without taking at least a 6-month class on gun safety and the proper way to use a gun. Or mental health, where you are giving us digital guns on Call of Duty, and now you're wondering why people in the millennial and Gen X generation are shooting people without emotional backlash. The problem is the powers at be, not us. You're doing this. You've done this, and you need to be held accountable. And you're still doing it. You politicized this man's death faster than we even knew who the subject was. If that's not agenda pushing, I don't know what is. But I can say this, and I'm saying this to an audience of people who already know. And when I go on Twitter, it's two things I see. And again, I go to Twitter because Twitter is a no holds bar. Like if you really want to immerse yourself into a rabbit hole, or you really want to get what the people feel, you need to go to Twitter. Because they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. Okay, you disagree with them? Yeah, they're yelling at you. But what I'm seeing on my Twitter anyway, and again, you know, it's algorithms on everybody's pages or whatever, is extremely radical dialogue. But I'm questioning the sympathy, because even if you sympathize with a person who lost their life, who was very influential, I mean, to be completely disheartened means that you empathize with some of his ideals. Right? Again, this comes from somebody who didn't know this person 2 days ago. You know what I'm saying? If you are like, okay, he didn't deserve to die, he has a wife and kids and all of this other stuff, what you really saying is, I agree with some of what he said, and that hate doesn't beget hate. Where was this outrage when Democratic people were losing their lives? That was nothing but a blurb in the news cycle. And now you want to give this man a trophy, comparing him to Martin Luther King, when he literally called a young black child an idiot for asking about the Civil Rights Act? When this man literally said that we were better enslaved? Not taking into account that we were whipped, chained, our ancestors were whipped, chained, and then we didn't even get the right to be considered a real person after we built the nation you stole us from our country to build? This is nothing but agenda pushing shit to cause us to fight. Because divided, we're easily controlled by the same people pushing this agenda. Going back to the reading of it all, and I'll give you one card on this. Am I right? That's all I want to know. The Bootz tarot card keeps coming up. This is a card of truth upright. I'm going to pull another one just to clarify, though. We are correct. Look, orchestrated by a little devil, showing things playing out on screens. That's the doppelganger tarot card. I mean, I was even taken back when Donald Trump said that he pulls more crowds than Martin Luther King. Why is Martin Luther King coming out your mouth? You did this. Your administration is doing this. And it's very purposeful. It's very tactical. And it is mental warfare. It is not spiritual warfare. It is mental warfare. You are trying to affect the minds of the college person, the impressionable individual, to grow up and have these reservations when it comes to people who don't look like them. You want this. You want this. And it's happening all over the globe. You know what that tells me? That tells me that it is not even a country thing. This is a global thing. Because the powers that be are losing power. Because the people's voice is starting to become a lot louder than the billions that you have. 1 out of every 5th black person is a millionaire. I'm happy enough to say that I've reached that mark. I can say that I'm a millionaire. Okay, do I have $1 million gross? Hell no, bitch. I pay taxes, bitch. I pay the state, bitch. They take a lot of money from us. You know what I'm saying? But I have grossed more than $1 million. And I am happy to say they hate that. They hate that I am a black, gay, expressive individual in America whose ancestors built your country. And I am able to use my gifts, my God-given abilities, standing on the backs of ancestors who were persecuted, having a mouthpiece for them. You can't stand it because you didn't bring us over here to win. You brought us over here to work for you. That's the root of it, right? We don't have tangible relevance to that plight, but we know our history, even though you're taking books out of schools. You're taking books out of schools so that we furthermore don't know it. An uneducated people, a divided people can be controlled by people who I consider elite. And it's happening right now. The revolution is happening with the people right now. And you're not broadcasting the conversations and the dialogue that this is opening up. You're not broadcasting that. You're not broadcasting unification or open conversations. You broadcast things to further divide us because, let's be honest, the media is ran by money and the elite have it. The elite have it. The View did not talk about anything happening nationally today. And I guarantee on Monday they're going to come back and say the temperature was too hot so we couldn't add gas to the flame. But what you really want to say is our executives told us that we can't talk about this right now, even though it's the hottest topic in politics and our nation at this moment in time. If you are blind to agenda setting at this point, you are willfully blind. You choose to be ignorant. And if that's you, there's communities for you. There are all white communities out here. There are all Asian communities. There are all, and this is not because of legislation. You have a choice. You don't have to be in the diverse areas of the United States of America at this point. You have a choice. We have a law that says you can be wherever you want to be. So why don't you just go be with your own people and let people who don't mind the differences of culture, ethnicity, and the people who don't let history dictate. See, you got it in your mind that we hate you. We don't hate you. We hate your history. We don't hate you. Okay? We hate what your folk did. We hate what some of our folk did because we sold ourselves into it somewhere. You got to get to the root of it. The root of it. Okay? And you used the divisivism of the human experience to perpetuate a narrative of divide because the elite politicians, the elite, I advise everybody to look up the Bilderberg group, who aren't even politicians, the shadow government that runs everything. That's who's really winning. We're cattle. We've always been cattle. Even the people, the colonizers who came over here, y'all were cattle for someone else's agenda. Show your face. Let us see you. I say all of that to say that I don't condone political violence. But Martin Luther King spoke peace and he was assassinated. JFK, a lot of people in his generation say he was the first black president. Like, he was really cool with the blacks. You killed him dead. Malcolm X, he was more radical, but he was for black people. Let's kill him too. Get him out of here. But you want us to grieve when someone who told a little black boy that he was an idiot for asking you about the Civil Rights Act. Have the conversation. Go out in your communities. Have the conversation. Have the conversation. Talk about it. Okay? But if a motherfucker get disrespectful, put your paws on that nigga. Or that cracker. Or that gyp. Or that shank. Or whatever the hell derogatory term you want to use to identify a race. Put your paw. Watch what the fuck you say. Yes, we have freedom of speech, but speech comes with consequences. And I'm not grieving. I'm not grieving for this. There was a moment when I first saw it where I was like, damn, like, yeah, no, like, and I'm still in that space. Like, no, you just can't, but how much hate did you fuel for how many years for that shot to ring out in your neck? And you advocated for guns. You wanted guns. I went down a rabbit hole last night. You guys know that because I was still in the rabbit hole as I woke up this morning. Give me rabbit hole emojis, rabbits and hole emojis if you're keeping up with my dialogue this morning. I haven't pulled a single card for anybody today. I even feel like moving my clients from today until Monday, but I really want to know what they're talking about. I really want to catch the pulse. You know, the pulse of all of this. This isn't how life is. When you wake up and you get your kids ready for school and you just want to make it through the day and smoke weed at the end of it. All of this rah-rah shit, bro, y'all manufactured it. You manufactured it to win votes, because you discovered in your first term that riling people up and being overtly political gets you the attention from the oppressed voice of racist and anarchists. And you know that's true because you said there was some great Proud Boys, who is a very well-known racist organization. This is about racism and white supremacy. It was a pacified subject when the Democrats were in office, because throughout history, Democrats represented the working class, the blue-collar person, and that was people who were disenfranchised who went into the workforce. Black people, immigrants, those were the only jobs we could get because we started with half a deck of cards. And you're so pissed. You're so pissed that 1 out of 5 black people are a millionaire. You're so pissed about that fucking shit. But it's not all people that are pissed about it. It's a certain group giving a megaphone to those people, making it seem like their voice is louder. You want to talk about transgender killers? Bro, the only transgender killers are Caucasian. These are niggas who put on dresses and claim that they're women with full live beards, holding AR-15s, killing people at Catholic schools. Is that not agenda setting? I am a firm believer that the government has hypnotized certain people in our environment to carry out certain agendas. They don't care about life. They care about control. I am in firm belief of MK Ultra. I am in firm belief that that black man who was illiterate enough to say that they did something to him in jail was controlled to carry that out. They present it to you as fiction in movies. It's no coincidence. There's no coincidence that right after this is taking place, Bombshell decides to be highlighted on Netflix, which is a far right radical piece of propaganda promoting Donald Trump. Promoting the same nigga. Honoring this person who spoke such hateful rhetoric. And then you peel the layers back and say, how did we get here? We always been here. It's just been quiet. And a part of me is glad it's loud. A part of me is glad it's real loud right now. We can do without the violence, but I'm violent. If you talk shit to me, I will beat your motherfucking ass. I have never been a fan of guns, though. And I wish we could go back to the 90s where when you had a problem with the bully on the yard, you knuckle up, you get suspended for 10 days, you come back to school and you say, oh, hey, you still got a problem? And bygones is bygones. But no, it's too much access to guns simultaneously while you are programming us to know how to use them with games like Call of Duty and shit like that. That shit should be reserved for military training. This is all a setup. And anything that comes out the box is manufactured to sway our minds. We are in psychological warfare. It's not going to be a civil war of black versus white or rich. It's going to be rich versus poor. Now it's going to be that because the elite want to keep getting power. It's going to be the elimination of the middle class. It's going to be either you have money or you don't have money. There's going to be a different set of rules for people who have money and a different set of rules for people who don't have money. And while we are so blinded by race relations, you don't even realize that the real divide is class, not race. Because the people who are pushing this agenda are the ones with the money. And it's crazy because money ain't even real. This is all a shit show. I had a dream I had committed suicide and I had left a note and I had said that I can do much more work in the spiritual realm than I can in the physical one. And I don't know if I'm going to stay true to that notion, but it meant something to me. And I think I gotta stay in that cauldron. I gotta stay in that cauldron because let's be clear. After I finish that spell, and I don't give a fuck what you believe, okay? After I finish that spell, this rhetoric is out. The Charlotte assassination took place. The Epstein documentation of the transactions that Donald Trump was elicited, and his face is fucking slumped over. We must stay in our magic. Thank you for listening. I'm going to post this video on all my social media, and we will have an open dialogue about it in the bakery tonight. Have a wonderful day.